So today we are here to talk about our latest gasoline price assessment, the August Mideast Gulf 92 RON gasoline price, also called MEBOB. I'm Anu Agarwal, VP Business Development for Oil in Asia, and I have with me Will Harwood, who's the Vice President of Business Development for Oil and Petroleum Products based in London, and Aldrich Chu, who's based in Singapore and leads our market coverage for oil products. So let me start with Aldrich. Aldrich, how large is the global gasoline market in terms of flows, interregional, or, give us a sense of this market?
Sure. So I mean, in terms of gasoline flows wise, exports wise, it's about 5 million barrels per day. And in terms of flows wise, we have, of course, North America supplying mainly the Latin America region. So you see a lot of US Gulf cargoes going towards Mexico. And then for Europe, they are supplying mainly West Africa and US. But of course, that volume from Europe to West Africa has been moving downwards a little bit from the startup of Dangote refinery. And of course, closer to home for Asia Pacific, it is more or less balanced, with most of the Southeast Asian countries covered by the Northeast Asian refineries. But at the same time, what we are seeing more often now is having some Asia Pacific supplies moving towards Latin America, like Mexico. So for South Asia, which is mainly India, the gasoline flows are moving towards the Mideast Gulf for blending. And of course, I think something that's to note is that for Middle East, it's the latest rising star. It's increasing its refining capacity recently, and we are seeing some change in trade flows right now. But for now, they are still mainly supplying Pakistan and, of course, the African region. Africa itself is still net short, but what we know is that, with Dangote's starting up their mega refinery there, it is becoming less short. And what more interesting now is we actually see some of these Dangote cargoes going towards Asia Pacific, especially towards the Mideast Gulf, and some even towards Malaysia and Singapore.
Got it. So it looks like a fairly global market with trade flows pretty much going in all directions. What are the major trading blocks or regions? And what are the big or important pricing benchmarks or standards in this market?
So for now, in terms of major trading region, we have Europe, which is of course the Argus EBOB is the one that's a benchmark there. We have US that mainly use the NYMEX RBOB futures. The Mediterranean is also one of the key regions, but it's slightly lower in liquidity. And of course, last but not least, we have a big one in Singapore. And of course, now what we are expecting to do is, of course, to have MEBOB as the new benchmark for the Middle East. So the Middle East itself, as you know, is kind of the rising refining capacity of the world, and it is also exporting a lot more gasoline. And we do feel that that requires an independent benchmark and not linked to any other existing benchmarks.
Right. Interesting. So, Will, maybe a question for you then. Why have we launched a Mideast gasoline assessment? I think Aldrich has already referred to it, but why does it make sense to have this price and why now?
Yeah, Aldrich started it by saying that the region really needs its own proper price, which people can use and can see the value of gasoline in the region. Traditionally, the way that the region has been assessed in terms of prices is that it takes the price from the Singapore market, which is a big market, and then deducts freight from that in order to get a price that would be the FOB or the price based in the Mideast Gulf. So it's trying to assess a price of one region by giving it a price minus the transportation costs of another region. And I think the region now is so important that it really does need something which is much more specific to the Mideast Gulf.
Right. So what you're saying is it makes sense to have a price that reflects the demand supply fundamentals, the dynamics of trading in the Middle East region itself, the Middle East and Indian Ocean region itself, rather than based on another large market and being a kind of you know, moving along that market, which may or may not be reflective.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, and obviously, if you have two centers, which you can say Singapore is one center and the Mideast Gulf is another center, they can move together or they can move in opposite directions. And that mechanism of having a Singapore price minus freight, it just doesn't really adjust quick enough and can introduce some volatility, some
Risks.
unwanted
Yeah.
volatility,
Hmm.
where you actually just want to say what is the price in the Mideast Gulf. So that's really um, the basic reason why we think it needs this new price.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think
Got.
really just to add to that, so if you look at Singapore itself, its main destination for most of its cargoes is towards Indonesia. So that's where that's where the demand and supply fundamentals lie. And in terms of the Middle East Gulf, it is actually towards Pakistan, towards Africa, and at times towards Singapore, but most of the time it's towards South Asia and of course the African region. So really trying to tie both benchmarks together means that if Indonesia's demand were to increase,
Hmm.
it doesn't make sense for the AG's price to increase in tandem.
Right.
If Pakistan and of course Africa is not really buying that much. So I think separating both benchmarks is something that it makes a lot of sense in this climate.
Got it. And who do you think, between, Will or Aldrich, who do you think will be really interested in seeing this price?
I think it's relevant for everybody. I mean, gasoline is a global market. There's a global complex. The main hubs at the moment, let's say, are Singapore, Europe, and the US, because that's where the main pricing signals come from the main pricing benchmarks, and also from the main derivatives that are used. But everybody has some interest in understanding what the prices in other places, and this Middle East region has become so important that it needs to be clear, and there can be again a difference in price between the two of those regions, and people can understand what the global complex is doing by
Right,
reference
right.
to these prices.
Yeah. So I guess in other words, the big traders, the big refiners based in this region, people who actually buy and sell gasoline, people who also need to hedge risks on these cargoes, as well as I I guess I think people, the governments and the regulatory bodies who look at gasoline price to the end consumer in each of these, countries in the region, everybody would have an interest in seeing a fair price that reflects this region, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, because if somebody sees that prices go up strongly,
Hmm.
then they can understand that it's specifically because of market dynamics in that region,
Right.
and can react to it. So whether that's
Right.
they understand that
Yeah.
now there's a possibility of an arbitrage in, or on the contrary, that it's actually going to attract too many barrels straight away. Um, everybody can see that as a market signal. It's really
Right.
important, I think. And I think that's the case. It's not the case with a price which is derived from another region with a net back of freight
Yeah. Yeah. Agree.
applied to it, because then you can't really separate the commodity price, what's the freight volatility, and what would be the signals for that the supplier region as well.
Dynamics of this region. Agree. The
Yeah.
the
So,
interest. Yeah.
oops,
Aldrich, go ahead.
sorry, I know. Sorry, just to
Yeah.
add to that. So, I mean, like what Will mentioned about how the net back method doesn't really work as well. And I think one key thing that we can see here is that during our AOM trading the past few days, we actually noticed that the bids that are placed in the platform has really been, almost like $1-2 above that of the usual netback price, which basically means that the market it should be even higher than the netback value. And people are putting their money where their mouth is by placing a bid that is higher that value.
One of the interesting things is that we have launched this price. The assessment comes through bids and offers and trades initiated on the Argus proprietary electronic platform called Argus Open Markets. So, Will and Aldrich, what are the advantages of assessing prices through such an electronic platform?
Yeah, the main advantages really are the fact that it's very precise. It's very transparent because you see the bids and offers on the screen, and it's set up with a methodology that it's quite a short period of time because we have that the assessment is made on, because we have a methodology that it's an outright price, so that outright price can move with the rest of the global oil complex.
Right.
And it means that everybody sees the same thing and has the same opportunity to react to it. And we have in one place a very strong set of price signals, which we then use to make the assessment.
Yeah,
Right.
actually, just want to add as well. So, just keep in mind that this AOM platform has been, I mean, we basically did months of research with market participants. We spoke to all the NOCs or most of the NOCs and a lot of the key traders to really understand what is the way as of which they are used to trading. And I think that's something that we are trying to implement in the AOM as well. So even the guardrails that we put in place, even the increments that we have, it is all through a lot of research and a lot of consultation with the market itself.
Right. Okay. So, Aldrich, what time does this platform, what time is it open? When does it run? And how's the interest so far? And do we see this growing?
Sure. So it opens at 1:30 Dubai time, and then it closes at 2 p.m. Dubai time. But the assessment itself starts only from 1:45 to 2 p.m. So far we started on the 20th of August, and every single day we had activities, and of course by very strong regional players. And I think even during the UK bank holiday, which I believe was on the 25th of August, there was also activity on the day itself. So which is very encouraging. And I think something that we have to note is that there has been a wide appreciation that the region needs something like this, and people have been coming on board, and there are more and more people coming on as well.
Right. Okay. So this is all very encouraging. Aldrich, can I check with you, where can our subscribers and clients see the MIBOB price? Where is it published?
Sure. So it's published in two reports. One is APPR, which is the Asia Pacific's Products Report, and it's also in the MGO report, which is the Argus Mideast Gulf and Indian Ocean report. And of course, we also have it on Argus Direct. And what we are working on right now is a workspace for MIBOB itself. So that will include really news analysis on the Mideast Gulf specifically, and then it will include all the 95, 92 spreads, any oxy, non-oxy spreads for the Mideast Gulf specifically, and of course all the MIBOB prices can be found there as well.
So thanks very much, Will and Aldrich. This is very interesting discussion, and I know that we will be continuing to talk about it in the coming weeks. If you want to know more on any of the points related to MIBOB, please feel free to write at oil-products@argusmedia.com. Thanks, everyone.